This is Chapter 7, Lesson 2, Solve and Write Addition Equations. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be solving equations that use addition. So for example, if I have 8 equals 3 plus x, and I'm trying to figure out what x is. Now, since we're using addition equations, remember when I talked about that we're going to be finding the inverse of them, or using the opposite. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to be using the subtraction to solve these problems. So when you solve an equation by subtracting the same number from each side of the equation, you are using the subtraction property of equality. Make sure you know that word. An example is down here. So if I have 132 plus t equals 244.5, since it's plus, I simply want to subtract 132 to the other side to get my answer, and then you can check it at the end. We will go through some examples to clarify this. Your California city for this chapter, this lesson, is San Francisco. You can follow along with me on page 526. We are going to do A and B. So first of all, we have A. C plus 2 equals 5. Remember, we want to use the subtraction property of equality. So what that means is, since it's adding 2, I need to do the opposite, or the inverse, and subtract 2 from both sides. Since it's an equation, whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So when I take 2 minus 2, I'm left with 0, so I just have my C equals 5 minus 2 is 3. So my answer is C equals 3. Now to check that, if I plug 3 in for C and I add 2 to it, I should get 5, and it works out. So let's look at B then. 6 equals x plus 5. Again, I'm adding 5, so I want to subtract 5 to both sides. 5 minus 5 is 0, leaving me with just an x. 6 minus 5 is 1. So I'm saying that my x is 1. To check it, I'm going to plug 1 in for x. 1 plus 5. Well, I know 1 plus 5 is 6, so I did it correctly. You can follow along with me on page 527. This is letter D. Suppose Ruben had 147.5 minutes of the 245.5 minutes that were downloaded. Write and solve an addition equation to find how many minutes belong to Tarek. So I'm going to say T is for Tarek when I'm going to write my equation. And we've done this before. So to write my equation, it says 147.5 minutes are Ruben's, and if I add Tarek's minutes to that, I should get 245.5 minutes. Now I solve this problem the same. I use a subtraction property of equality. So I'm going to subtract 147.5 to both sides. Doing that, that goes to 0, and I'm left with just a t on this side. 245.5 minus 147.5 should give you 98 when you subtract it. So my answer is 98. If you plug 98 back in for t, it'll check out, and that's how you can check your answer to make sure you did it correctly.